Hello, today we will read chapter 5 of the book of Joshua. So how has been your reading journey, reading the Bible journey? Reading the Bible is like, I think, a marathon. It's a long journey. It's not like, okay, I will finish this by this week or by next month. Yes, I know there are someone who did it, who read the Bible so quickly. However, Bible is not something we read for a kind of test or quiz. Bible reading is kind of everyday thing. We need to remember to read the Bible every day and every moment. So it's kind of our daily habit. So in this pandemic situation, I wanted to help you to read the Bible, how can I say, step by step. Yes, I know there are someone who can read the Bible really quick. However, for those who is not like reading Bible so quickly, I just wanted to read with you step by step. So that's why I'm calling this as reading the Bible with your pacemaker. Okay, how has been your reading so far? We are reading chapter 5 of the book of Joshua. What does chapter 5 talk to us today? And I think, let me share my thoughts and reflection on chapter 5 of the book of Joshua. As I read it, I think it keeps telling us about God is the one who leads the people of Israel. And they needed to remember that God was the leader. I think that this is the essential part of the book of Joshua so far. God is the one who lead the people of Israel. And Israel people, they were supposed to remember that God was the Lord for them. And I was reminded of my personal experiences when I needed to get used to new environment or situation. For example, coming to Kansas for ministry for the first time. We pray a lot. I prayed a lot to God. God, help me. I'm beginning my ministry. I need your help. I need your wisdom. I prayed. And how about you? So do you have any experience that you prayed to God in front of something new you needed to get used to or you needed to get over? Sometimes when we learn something like learning a new, new language, learning how to ride a bike. When we learn something new, we pray to God to help us and give us wisdom so that we can, learn and then finish our work. Actually, not just a couple of special project or special situation environment. Actually, our entire life is being led by God. And God is the Lord in our daily lives. I think that's what we need to remember, not just Israelites, but also us today. Today's chapter 5 verse 1 says this: When all the kings of the Amorites beyond the Jordan to the west, and all the kings of the Canaanites by the sea heard that the Lord had dried up waters of the Jordan for the Israelites until they had crossed over, their hearts melted, and there was no longer any spirit in them. No longer any spirit in them. They lost their passion. They lost their energy because of fear in God, because of the Israelites. This is verse 1 says to us. What do you think? God took Joshua as a new leader, and they sent spies out to Jericho. And after that, they were moving forward. So they crossed the Jordan River. When they crossed it, God made the river dried up. So they could move forward to find a new land that God promised to them. When the other kings, so like the kings of Amorites and the kings of Canaanites, when they heard that, their hearts melted. They were surprised and even shocked. So their hearts melted. And they were in fear because of the Israelites. And I think in this verse we need to remember one more thing. They were fearful in the Israelites, but also in God. They knew that God was with the Israelites. That's why they were in fear. By God's grace, God's help, they could cross the Jordan River, which was dried up until they crossed over. Because God was with them, they could do all these things. And the other kings who didn't believe in God knew that God was with the Israelites, and their hearts melted. That was the situation. Friends, do you also have any experience that you could accomplish something you couldn't do by yourself, but God helped you so that you could achieve something? In which way did you experience God's help and guidance, and you confess that, oh, it was not me, it was God's help. That's why I could finish this work. I could finish this journey. So do you have any kind of experience like this? How God led us in the past, or how God leads us right now? Let us think about it. And next, God is talking about circumcision to Joshua. Verse 2 says like this: At that time the Lord said to Joshua, make flint knives and circumcise the Israelites a second time. Circumcision. Yes, what does it mean? What did circumcision mean to them? Why did God say to Joshua to circumcise his people? Circumcision signified that those who were circumcised were distinguished as holy one before God. That was the meaning of the circumcision. Their ancestors were already circumcised. However, because the journey had been longer and longer, like 40 years, there were some people who forgot about God, who didn't care about God. They just followed their own will, not God's will. They forgot that God was the leader, God was the Lord. They forgot God helped them to be escaped from Egypt. So God was kind of disappointed. So God chose their next generation to enter into the promised land. And God asked Joshua to circumcise them so that they remember that God was the leader, God was the Lord. So that was the meaning of circumcision in today's verses. Through all this circumcision story, what does chapter 5 talk to us today? It talks to us two things, I think. God leads us. God is the leader. God is the Lord in our life journey and faith journey. Second, we need to remember that. We need to remember that. We should not forget that. We had an Easter Sunday this last Sunday. We worshipped by online. We had a Good Friday service. We had a Monday, Thursday service. Especially Bishop hosted the online live Monday, Thursday service, including Holy Communion. Yes, we remembered God's salvation work, Jesus' work on the cross. And do you still remember His grace? Do you still remember His sacrificial love? Yes, yes. Easter Sunday was over. However, our life journey, our faith journey is not over yet. We're still on the journey going forward. Friends, how do you want to go forward in your life journey and faith journey? Do you want to go forward by yourself, following your own will? Or do you want to move forward with God, with God's help, following God's will? What do you want? Let us remember that God is the one who leads us. God is the one who guides us step by step. And let us remember His guidance and His grace on our life journey and faith journey. So today, let us think about how can we be distinguished as holy one before God on our life journey. At the time, the Israelites the males, they were circumcised. But what can be our way to be distinguished as holy one before God? Let us think about it today when we read the chapter 5 of the book of Joshua. Thank you.